So after all that, what are some of my conclusions? As I mentioned several times, I did a similar experiment a few months ago in Cursor. Do I think this was better than Cursor? Honestly, not really. It was pretty much the same, except for now we have the ability to work within the terminal. I believe this was something that Windsurf started, I think, and now Cursor has the same ability, but as I mentioned in an earlier video, they're confusing things. They have an editor window, they have an agent, they have something called a composer, and things were getting very confusing for me. I do like that within Windsurf you just have the Cascade chat window, and from there that has the ability to view and edit your files directly, view and edit the terminal directly. So I think that was definitely easier. And really the biggest difference to me now was the ability for Windsurf to look at the terminal and see that there are exceptions and work on it automatically. That was definitely a big thumbs up. There were a lot of similarities though. As I've been saying, it's great for creating a prototype, but I would not use this in production without understanding the code. Make sure that you are reviewing the code with each change. Do a security audit. Don't trust anything. As you saw in these videos, it makes changes to code that used to work, changes not just to styles, changes to functionality, and who knows what it's doing to any code that you might think was secure. It makes unnecessary and unexpected changes to features and styles. Don't assume that anything works. Never make any assumption. I was also unable to create simple playwright tests. I had to give it strict guidance. I had to tell it how to fix things. It was able to look at the code though and come up with, I think it was a list of the top 10 features that it was going to write tests for. That was helpful. It struggled for quite a while though to get a basic framework running. I was making all these crazy changes with threading and sub-processes. I don't think any of that was necessary, but in its final state, it is running. We were able to go through a couple of tests and guide it along to change the selectors, but again, don't assume anything. You have to really understand your code, you have to understand how selectors work, you have to really nudge this and sometimes force it to do the correct job. And again, someone without a background in software development is really going to struggle to get past first base. I think a lot of people are going to be excited that they're able to talk to AI and tell it to build something, and they'll be amazed that, yeah, it makes a cool looking website, you didn't have to write any code, and that's all great, and that's exciting, and that's amazing stuff considering where we were just maybe a couple of years ago. But once the project becomes more complex, you really have to understand how to troubleshoot and how to guide it. And people that don't have any development background, that are not technical at all, they're going to struggle here. And I can see it already, people releasing code into production that is not secure, that's easily hackable, and I fear for that day. Also remember that you pay for usage even when it has to debug its own code. And we had a couple of times where the code was buggy and it took several iterations to fix. And all those API calls you're paying for. So Windsurf with Claude Sonnet 3.5 it's capable and eager, but keep an eye on it. It's great for brainstorming, troubleshooting, maybe offering a second pair of eyes. I had a good example of I got myself in a deep hole with a Git branch, and I really didn't know how to back out of it. I was able to use the free Windsurf Cascade, and in one prompt, it was able to help me back out of the problem I had. It gave me a couple of commands to run from the terminal, and just like that, I was up and running again. So it definitely has value. I mentioned this several times in the video. Please commit and branch often. Again, don't make any assumptions. If you have something in a good state, save it so you could always roll back. So if you enjoyed this project, please fork it and contribute just some of the ideas that I had, maybe for some future features. A code security audit, add authentication, add an API with Fast API. Any real product these days is made API first. Add a dark mode. I know dark mode is pretty hot these days. That was something that Cursor was able to do very well and pretty easily. So try that. Add a real search engine. You saw some of the complexities that I had trying to have this search with basic SQL queries. The word "the," for example, or parts of a word that show up in a search report. A real search engine has fixed all those problems 20 years ago, so that might be interesting to add here. If you are more QA-minded, try fixing the playwright tests and have them trigger through maybe GitHub actions every time there's a pull request or a commit. You need to do testing often and thoroughly. So if you are interested in contributing, there's the URL for this project on the bottom. I'm also going to add it to the video descriptions. I think it's important for anybody in software development, whether you consider yourself an engineer or a manager or a product manager, to really try to stay abreast of what's happening in the world of AI code development. The models are getting smarter and smarter, and things are happening rapidly. So as difficult as it may be in this field, you're always learning something new and throwing out an old framework for a new framework. It's important to try to stay on top of all of these changes. I wish everybody luck, and thanks for watching.